Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another exciting and fun-filled episode on this Passagemaker dinghy build. We've got lots to do, so let's get at it. Alright, so I think where we left off last episode was this motor plate here. We just glued that on, so I think that was yesterday, and we should be able to take these guys off. And I think we got a pretty good bond there. Yep, just some cleanup and we're ready to go. All right, good. When I was editing the last video, I realized that I had some camera and audio issues when I was talking about the mast holder thing here. So all I was talking about, I think, was doing a drill and fill on these holes, and then also I had talked about doing a drill and fill on this guy. Now, I've had second thoughts about it, so I could make a plug. I could make a plug here and then use a Fastener bit to oversize it, fill the whole thing in. The problem is then coming back and doing the same hole again and getting it in the right spot. So what I think I'm going to do instead is I'll get the rotary tool out, I'll relieve the edges a little bit, I'll clean up the bottom quite a bit, and then we'll just use normal epoxy and then the final finish on it. And I'll we'll go ahead and sand this down and get these holes drilled in both this guy and in these guys here for when we get ready to epoxy. And so that's the main thing I'm going to be working on here. In 2 days' time, we've got a really good weather window to do some, hold on. Sorry, I had a little bit of an interruption there. So anyways, as I was saying, we had, in 2 days' time, we got a really good weather window where I don't have to stay up all hours of the night to do 2 layers of epoxy on the inside of the boat here. So my main focus here for the next 2 days is going to be cleaning up the fillets here. I don't have a lot to do, and then prepping the rest of the boat. I do want to touch these handrails or these rub rails here and do a pretty good cleanup. I still haven't decided whether I'm going to try to sand over these or if I'm going to clean them up and then just do a round over. Use the router as with a round over bit on them to relieve this. We'll have to see. I'll probably do some sanding first and see how it looks, and then if I don't like that, then I'll come back and we'll try the router. But anyways, yep, got lots of sanding to do. When I do the epoxy, and remember, you can see we went and did what they told us to do, I think, and did the bottom of the boat in epoxy. So what I'm going to do is the first layer of epoxy, I'll do the bare wood. Everywhere where there's bare wood, we'll do that first. And then the second coat of epoxy, we'll do the whole darn thing and have everything really well sealed up. I did get the flag epoxy, the Moz flag epoxy, so hopefully that'll go better. And also I've got the rollers that I like to put the epoxy on. So maybe this second go with doing this big clear epoxy and job will go a lot easier. Anyways, let me get going on this. I'll probably show a little bit on the handrails, maybe a little bit on the sanding, but most of it's stuff you've seen before. All right, been sanding for quite a while here. Quickly getting to the intersection of I want this to look good, and boy, this is an awful lot of work. So anyways, I got most of the front section done. Probably need to still do some hand sanding, and I still got the rest of the boat to do. But I was looking at the rub rails, and I started doing some round over with just some sanding. I'm not sure I could get a good even round over on that. And then looking at it, we've got these holes where we had the screws holding these together, if you remember right. So if I went to put let me get the router here. Ooh. If I went to put the router here on, I'd be hitting I'd be hitting those holes in a couple of spots, and that would make the router act up. And then if I did it this way, I don't really have a good surface here, I don't think, to keep it straight. So I'm going to go, and I meant to do this anyways, is to go ahead and fill in those holes. It's a little warm right now, but I'm going to go ahead and mix up a small batch of thickened epoxy and fill in all these little holes. And then when I fill them in, I think I'm just going to smush it in, and then just put a piece of tape over it to kind of hold it in and keep it from dripping out. So let me get going on that, and then we'll call it a day today and be back out here tomorrow. All right, so I had used the countersink board to clean these holes out, and then a little brush with some degreaser. So hopefully we've got a decent hole here, and I can just squish some in here. I'd like to leave it a little bit proud. And then I've got a piece of tape here. Let's see how this works. That shouldn't be too bad. So let me just keep on trucking here, and hopefully we can get this done in a couple minutes here. Oh, that one squished on me. There we go. I'll just keep on get the rest of them. I've probably got 8-10 of them more to do. Alrighty then, it's been a day, or almost a day, since I put filled in these holes, and back out here this morning, and I think that worked pretty. I think that worked pretty good. I'll have to do some a little bit of sanding there, quite a bit of sanding. That one, I'm not sure if they're set all the way, but being that small, probably should be okay to sand it down. Also, I had some thickened epoxy left over, so I went back and redid these corners, just a skim coat on there, and then did the same thing on those corners there. Made myself a little bit more work, but that's all right. So I've still got quite a bit to do here, and tomorrow the high is supposed to be only like 65 for the whole day. So my plan is to finish everything up today that I can, including a shot at these rub rails, and doing the using the router to round over at least the top part of the top edge here of the rub rail all the way around, and finishing off the back, and doing some general prep work for tomorrow so that we can coat the inside of the boat here with 2 coats of epoxy. So got lots to do and time to get going. All right, well, I just realized I didn't have the microphone turned on for that. So yeah, so anyway, so I did relieve the edge here on the rub rail, and it went really well. I'm pretty happy with it. I've got just a slight bit of ridge here on the underneath in a couple spots. I think it's because the angle of the rub rail was off, or the router was off just a little bit, so I can clean that up real easy with sanding, and I need to probably just take the sander and run along the bottom edge here too. Anyways, so yep, so sorry about not having the sound on, but you probably didn't miss much. All right, so I'm all done sanding. I don't care what it looks like. I'm mostly done sanding, I guess I should put it that way. So I did take an opportunity here, and I did fill in, remember we had some pretty good big gaps here, so I filled that in a little bit to help that out, and then also I put another fillet around the bottom So that should be dry by tomorrow morning, or set or cured or whatever you want to call it. And then might have to do some light sanding on it, but I might just go ahead and epoxy right over it. and because the bottom part's going to be all the horizontal surfaces are going to be painted. So that means primer, probably 2 coats, and then paint, probably 2 coats at least. So it'll have plenty of opportunities to get ferreted out and smoothed out. So one of the last things I want to do today is to do this mast support thing here. I think part of the video last week I had talked about this, and then the camera and the audio had problems. So anyways, I've got it set up here. I had put marks here to help me get it back in the right place, and even if I don't hit the underside fill right dead on, at this point I'm not worried about it, because we'll be doing the whole thing in epoxy tomorrow, so we'll get a chance to get sealed up. So let me get you set up and get those holes drilled and finish cleaning up here. All right, so let's get these 2 holes drilled. This one here is probably the one that is off the most. So let's just give this a shot and see how it goes. I forgot to put something underneath for tear out, but it looks like we went through pretty good, so I'm not going to worry about it. Let me get on the other side. It goes off a little bit on my angles, but let's see how bad I did. Yep, off quite a bit. You can see here this one here was off quite a bit, and that one there isn't a lot better. How'd that happen? Huh. It must come in at quite an angle there. It's all right. We'll get. Let me ream it out a little bit, and then when we after we put the epoxy here on tomorrow, we'll have to probably drill it out again anyway. So the only last thing I'm going to do is, like I had talked about, is cleaning up this a little bit with the rotary tool, because we'll put a coat of epoxy over this part tomorrow, if I remember to. Well then, looks like I'm all ready to go. I was out here earlier this morning and cleaned up everything, and even the part that the epoxy I put down around the bottom and around the hole for the dagger board here. I cleaned that up pretty good, I think. So it's not quite as janky looking as it was. Put some paint over that, be fine. So anyways, yeah, so today it was actually, when I was out here this morning, it was 53 out here. So kind of surprised. I needed to wait this morning for it to warm up. The epoxy is 55 to 75 degrees. They say it. I keep going back and looking at the website, and they say that it wants to be used at 70 degrees, but with a 30-minute working time, I don't think that's reasonable, at least not for me anyways. But so anyway, so I think we're ready to get started on doing the first coat this morning. It at 70 degrees, it says 5 hours to get to the point where you can recoat it. It'll probably take a little bit longer, but it's only it's 10:30 in the morning right now, so I've got quite a good time. I probably won't lose sleep trying to wait for this to get the second coat on. So the other thing is, so I had thought that I might do just the first coat, do the areas that hadn't been epoxied yet. But looking at it, if I do that, and then I go to put the final coat on the whole thing, I'm going to be reaching over what's been epoxied already. So I think to minimize that mess, I'm going to just do the first coat over the whole thing, and then I'll come back and put the second coat over the areas that haven't been epoxied. I think that's what I'm going to try to do anyways. This is quite a bit of epoxy, and I'm expecting this to take me a bit of time to get through. So I do have the flag epoxy, and then I was waffling on using the flag or the low viscosity resin. The the flag resin is a thicker, it's medium viscosity, and it doesn't penetrate into wood as well, from what I can tell. But I think in this instance, I think we're okay. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It might be a mistake. I do have I've got the corner. I got the market cornered on the good Worcester rollers here. I'll be using this 3/8 inch nap for this first coat, and then we'll decide if we're going to go to the 1/4 inch for the second coat, or just stay with 3/8 inch. Got an extra roller. I've got plenty of extra frame. I got an extra frame and plenty of extra rollers, so we're good there. I did have these brushes. I'm going to use this. I've tried to get rid of the loose bristles on this guy, so hopefully this does a little bit better for me than the real cheap chip brushes. And yeah, so then I'll be using for the resin, instead of, I do have a pump, an extra pump I could put in here, but I think I'm just going to use the measuring here on these cups. So we'll just go to 5 and 5 and mix up a pretty decent sized batch, and we'll just go at it that way. So let me get you set up. I think that's everything. I did take the pulleys off. Probably need to get them up out of the way. Boat's mostly stable, so I think we're ready to get started here. I'm going to start at the back here and work my way around this side, and then come back and do the other side, I think is the way I want to do it here. Of course, I got the motor pad here. Should put these up. I think it's between a combination of how much cooler it is and this this other epoxy resin here. It's pretty amazing how much thicker it is. All right, it looks looking okay. I'm a little bit worried I'm gonna have to do roll and tip along this whole thing. We'll see how it goes. It really seems like it helps going back and tipping the epoxy after I put it on with the roller. Oh, and I forgot to wipe down this darn thing. All right, well, we'll have to get that last, maybe. I actually thought about doing this this epoxy with the boat upside down with the new pulleys. I thought I might be able to pull it up high enough that I could almost stand underneath it, and then just do this above my head. And then I thought about how much epoxy would be dripping on me and thought we'll just go ahead and do it like this. The not sure if it's the resin or the roller, but it seems like we're getting it's almost milky white. I think it's because of the air introduced in by the roller. So maybe the 1/4 inch nap roller would have been a better choice. Maybe it wouldn't introduce as much air into this, but hopefully I've got enough working time here to do the tip and roll, or the roll and tip, whatever way it's said. I guess it's roll and tip. Alright, time for another batch of epoxy. So that was probably maybe a quarter of the boat. Jeez, boat's thirsty. And that took me about 30 minutes to do a quarter, so looking at a couple hours here. Alright, time to move around and start at the back and work my way forward again, I guess. Alright, well geez, one more batch ought to do it. In fact, I think I'll make this one, so let's see, I did, yeah, we'll make a full batch here again. It's nice that this flag resin uses the same slow hardener. I got a half gallon of this flag. Seems like it was probably about a quart too much. But I did pick up a quart of slow hardener to go with it. So I'm just using my regular slow hardener here, and when that gets low enough, I'll just add that quart back into it. So we should have plenty to finish up the project. Well, heck, I think that's the first coat done. Whew. So let's see, I started at 10:40 and it's 12:15, so about an hour and a half. Yep, I think I'm okay. I'm okay with this first coat. This brush only lost, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 bristles, so real happy with the brush. And the roller, towards the end I found a couple of little fluffs from it, but overall I think we did pretty good on that. So pretty happy, I think, with this first coat. Nice and shiny, and time to, so I'll probably wait 5 hours, maybe 4, come out and check it, and then put the second coat in. I'm still planning on just doing the areas that had only the first coat. So the bottom where I had the second coat, we'd skip on this round, but we'll see how it looks, see how it goes, and get cleaned up, have some lunch, and relax quite a bit. This is quite a bit more work than a retired old guy should do. Alright, so I'm about 2:50 in the afternoon, and I came out here, and I think we're just at the point now, almost tack free. So I think by the time I'm ready and get started on the back and work my way around, just like I put the first coat on, we'll be in good shape. Took a quick look, and I just noticed there's down here there's one little puddle, and there's a couple other little spots that don't look the best, but overall I'm pretty darn happy. Let's get geared up and get this second coat on. Uh-oh. Alright, this jug of hardener is out, and I've got enough to make up this batch. For the second batch, I'll have to go get the, it feels like it's got some in there, so maybe it just needs to be tilted a little bit or something. All right, well, this is where, when I did the bottom of the boat, this is where the problems came up, is putting in the second coat. So hopefully it goes better this time. Looking good so far. A lot better than the second coat went on the bottom, so hopefully we're on the right track for a process here. Whoops. Knew I was going to do this. Yeah, I wasn't going to put a second coat underneath or on top of where we already had. So, all right, good. All right, well, I better run in and get some some more hardener, and then we can finish up the other side of the boat here. Yep, so I got a quart of slow to go with the half gallon of the flag. So we should be back in business here when I'm cleaning up over the next couple of days. I'll dump the rest of this quart into the gallon slow, and hopefully that gets us right. I always wondered about how accurate these pumps were. I'm not quite sure. The only good thing is it seems that the at least this epoxy resin system seems to be forgivable for exact ratios anyways, hopefully. One thing is this new hardener is quite a bit clearer than what I was been using. I saw on their website, one of the things that they talk about is that the older the hardener is, the more yellow it'll become. So it's shouldn't be any difference here since this is actually the second coat. Take a quick look here before I go too much further and seeing any sags at all. Jeez. It's looking pretty darn good. See a couple spots. Jeez, looking a lot better than the looking a lot better than the bottom when I did the bottom, that's for sure. All right, good. All right, well, as finishing up here as the garbage truck goes by, I've got quite a bit left, and I think I'm going to go ahead and hit these seams up. I'm going to get the small brush out and see if I can put some more epoxy in these seams. This might not be the best idea, given my track record, but let's go ahead and see if we can, these seams between the top three planks anyways, where we don't have the epoxy or the fiberglass. My biggest problem is trying to not get any drips on the boat here, I think. As I went along, especially with the second coat, I tried to make sure I had paid special attention to these seams. Alright, last thing I want to do now is these spots where I had the screws that I took out. I'm just going to overfill those just a little bit, I think. And I better quit before I make any more mess here. Quit while I'm ahead. Oops, I forgot to do this. There's this hole in the knee, in the bow here. See, just a little bit of sag here on this part. I don't know why. Do these handles, make sure we get them real good. Well, it's not anywhere close to being perfect, but I think it's darn good enough for me. And I think I better stop right now before I make more of a mess. So good. So I think, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Tomorrow is definitely a rest day. And I want to give this, give everything at least a good, whatever, 2.5 days or day and a half to cure, especially with the temperatures. It's 61 in here now. It's supposed to drop down again tonight and then be coolish tomorrow too. So yeah, seeing sags right where I put the coat on the had to get those seams done, and seeing some sagging there. All right, now I'm really done. Sure, I've got spots that'll need touching up anyways. And if I put more epoxy on, it's just more epoxy I've got to sand off later. All right, then we're back out on the boat here. Had a nice relaxing day yesterday, so this has had 2 days to dry, and it's looking pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with it. You can see it's got quite a bit of a texture to it, but it's a uniform texture. It's not too blotchy, so I think this is going to sand up real nice. Real happy. I didn't have very many sags, but you can see where I had to go do the seams, and I've got some there. Also, I see where I actually started doing the bottom where I didn't mean to, and now looking at it, I was like, oh, maybe I should have. But anyways, it's all good. It's all looking pretty darn good. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with this. I think this is gonna be relatively easy to sand and get ready for the next step. Now, I had been thinking that at this point I would go ahead and do the cut the front part of the boat off, but I'm starting to rethink that now. I really, especially since I've got it suspended now and it's relatively easier to turn over, I hope. I think I'm going to leave it whole and do the next steps and decide later when I'll do the cut. It's quite a bit of work here because not only do we have to do the cut, then we've got to do the cleanup because there'll be you can see this gap here, so there'll be a little bit of cleanup to do on both sides of the cut, and then I'll want to do some epoxy in, and there's a gasket piece that goes in here, and regular cleanup, and so that's quite a bit of work left to do there. And I had thought that maybe I wanted to do it now, but when I do that, then I could run ropes through the holes, and have something for the bolts there, and use that to suspend the boat with and get it turned over. But I think, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and leave it whole now. And I want to flip the boat over now because instead of putting my poor back through leaning over here and trying to do the sanding, I'm going to flip the boat upside down and then do the sanding above me. I think that's better for my back, and it helps with the everything falling down on the floor, the sanding stuff, and it makes cleanup a little bit easier. So first thing I got to do here today is get this boat flipped over. All right, well, hopefully the camera's recording. And hopefully we don't go quite as south as we did on the when we flipped the boat over to right side up. All right, so let's see now. I got to think about this a little bit, how I want to do this. So I want to flip the boat over. I think I'm going to go this way. So I want to pull this one in, let this one loose. I'm probably going to have to lower the front down too. All right, let's start by start by loosening this side to drop it down. Yep. Whoa! I gotta get some other cleats. I gotta get some other. These cam cleats hold pretty good, but they can run on us. All right, so good. So what was I doing? So now it looks like. So if I bring that side around, what was I doing here? So more on this side. All right, that's good. This side can stay there. Want to lower the front down just a little bit here, I think. The shorter distance the boat has to fall, the less damage it'll do. Alright, so we should be pretty darn close here. Let's see. I was hoping I'd be able to get to a point here. Alright, so we got just a little bit more to go here, I think. So I still need to loosen this one and tighten up this one a little bit more, I think, here. Alright, now, oops. Nope. Alright, not quite there yet. I gotta do something else here. Yep. So I need something better to secure these ropes than these cam cleats. I may have bought something. All right. Well, let me get this in a decent spot here and see what else I can do. All right, then I still got some figuring out here to do in this system here. I think I just need to get some cleats or something. But anyways, I'm pretty happy, like I said, with how the epoxying went on the inside of the boat here. I think we got a pretty good process and materials. All right, so using the flag resin, and then using the those rollers, whichever ones they were. I think is a good process for putting down the clear epoxy. But anyways, I wanted to finish up this episode. It's starting to run long. I want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Please leave me any comments, questions, suggestions down below. Please tell your friends about me, and please subscribe. Everyone, take care and be good.